Have you ever wondered why the women you chase seem indifferent, but the ones you pull back from suddenly lean in with fire in their eyes? Imagine this: you're talking to a woman, things are flowing, she's laughing at your jokes, and then you get caught up in the rush. You start texting too much, over-explaining your feelings, always being the first to reach out. At first, she responds. Then her replies slow down. Suddenly, you're staring at your phone waiting for that little grey bubble that never comes. And just when you're about to give up, she throws you a crumb, a quick hey at midnight, or a photo that reminds you she's still there. You feel relief. You lean back in. But by the next morning, she's gone cold again. You're hooked. That is the hot-cold game. It's not always conscious, but it's powerful. The psychological effect of inconsistency is stronger than constant attention. Think about it: if you walk into a room and someone smiles at you every day, it's pleasant, but you eventually expect it. You stop feeling the rush. But if that same person one day smiles warmly and the next day ignores you completely, your brain spirals. You start asking, what did I do wrong? Did I lose them? How do I get that smile back? This is not just dating. It's the same mechanism that fuels gambling addiction, intermittent rewards. Not knowing when the next win will come makes you invest harder. Women know this instinctively. That's why the hot-cold pattern is one of the deadliest emotional games in modern dating. Picture a guy named Daniel. He met a woman at a friend's party. She gave him a number, and the first week they texted non-stop. He felt like he finally met someone who got him. Then suddenly she went quiet. Hours turned into days with no reply. Just when he was about to walk away, she texted, "Hey stranger, miss me?" His heart jumped. He felt alive again. He doubled down. He sent longer messages, tried harder jokes, suggested more dates. But the more he leaned in, the more she leaned out, until he became just another number on her phone, desperate, waiting, controlled by her rhythm. Here's the brutal truth when you react emotionally to her hot-cold shifts. You hand her the keys to your psychology. You think you're chasing love, but you're actually dancing to her tune. Every unanswered message, every delayed reply, every sudden burst of warmth, it's pulling your attention deeper. And the more you focus on her, the less you focus on yourself. You stop working out. You stop seeing friends. You stop pursuing your own goals. Your energy gets drained into analyzing texts, replaying conversations, trying to fix the coldness. That obsession isn't attraction anymore. It's dependency. So how do you break it first? Recognize the cues. If she texts constantly one day and disappears the next, that's not your fault, that's a tactic, conscious or not. If she cancels plans last minute but expects you to jump when she's suddenly free, that's hot cold. If she floods you with affection, then vanishes to think about things, that's a pattern. Your job isn't to decode it. Your job is to refuse to play it. Second, you counter it with indifference. Let's say she goes cold for 2 days and then reappears with, "Hey, what are you doing?" Don't rush to answer. Don't reward the inconsistency with instant attention. Keep living your life. Respond when you want to, not when she demands it. If she cancels, don't scramble to reschedule. If she shows up again with sudden affection, match her lightly, but don't over-invest. You're not punishing her, you're protecting yourself. You're showing her, and more importantly, showing yourself that you're not addicted to inconsistency. Third, test her interest. If she's genuinely into you, she won't just play games, she'll lean in consistently when you create space. If she only resurfaces when you're slipping away, that's not love. That's control. The test is simple when you stop chasing. Does she come closer? If not, she was never really there. And if she does, your frame must stay steady. Never give all of yourself to someone who only gives part of themselves to you. You want to know the real power move. It's not chasing her when she's warm, and it's not panicking when she's cold. It's holding steady, no matter what. When she's hot, you enjoy it. When she's cold, you keep moving. You show her that your life is not a roller coaster tied to her mood. That steadiness is what women can't resist. Because deep down, she doesn't want a man who bends to every shift in her behavior. She wants a man who grounds her, even when she tries to throw him off balance. So here's the question. Have you ever noticed yourself falling harder for a woman the moment she pulled back? Did you ever feel your stomach twist waiting for her reply? Only for her to come back like nothing happened. And be honest, did you reward that behavior with even more of your time and energy? Tell me in the comments. Have you ever done this and didn't realize it pushed her away? What's the hardest thing you've faced when trying to keep a woman interested? Drop your story below. When you're caught in the hot-cold cycle, your emotions start working against you. Every time she pulls back, your brain interprets it as a loss, and losses feel twice as powerful as wins. This is why you obsess. You're not chasing her love, you're chasing the relief from anxiety she created by withdrawing it. That's the trap. The more she withholds, the more you crave. The irony is that when she finally throws you a breadcrumb, it doesn't even feel that good anymore. It just calms the storm she created. And that relief makes you mistake her for the solution, when in reality, she's the cause. Think about it. You wouldn't call a drug dealer your savior just because he sold you the pill that stopped the withdrawal symptoms he made you addicted to. Yet men do this with women all the time. She gives you highs, she gives you lows, and you confuse survival for intimacy. It's not intimacy, it's dependency dressed as romance. This is why you see men who would never accept disrespect in business or friendships completely collapse in dating. A guy will fire an employee who misses deadlines, but he'll keep chasing a woman who cancels on him 3 times in a row. Why? Because the employee isn't giving him dopamine spikes. The woman is. That's how powerful this cycle is. It overrides logic, self-respect, and common sense. Here's where the practical strategy comes in. When you feel the anxiety of her coldness, you have to flip the script. Instead of rushing to win her back, use that moment as a signal. This is where obsession is born. Most men try to escape that anxiety by pouring more energy into her, texting more, giving gifts, proving their worth. That's like scratching an itch that only spreads the rash. What you need to do is step back, sit in the discomfort, let the craving burn without feeding it. The moment you stop trying to fix her coldness, you start regaining your power. For example, let's say she used to text you good morning every day, and suddenly she stops. You feel that sting. Your instinct is to send her a good morning first, hoping she'll respond. But here's the move you don't. You resist. Instead, you take that energy and put it into your workout, your work, your craft. The first day is hard, the second day feels worse. But by day 3, something changes. You realize you didn't die. You realize her silence doesn't kill you. That realization is freedom. You break the illusion that you need her warmth to function. Another example, she cancels a date last minute with a vague excuse like, "Sorry, something came up." Your instinct to reschedule immediately, to show your understanding, to keep her, but that only rewards her inconsistency. Instead, you reply calmly, "No problem. I'll be busy the rest of the week. That's it." No guilt, no begging, no follow-up. You flip the power dynamic. Because now, she has to wonder, did I just lose him? Is he slipping away? That question makes her feel the same anxiety she was trying to put on you. That's how you turn the game back on its head, not by playing harder, but by refusing to play. You have to understand, indifference isn't about acting cold. It's about being rooted in something deeper than her validation. When you're grounded in your own mission, her fluctuations don't move you. She texts less, you're still building. She shows up warm, you enjoy it, but you don't build your day around it. That steadiness is magnetic. Women may test you with hot-cold behavior, but what they truly crave is a man they can't emotionally toss around like a toy. Here's the most dangerous mistake men make, thinking they can outplay the hot-cold game by mirroring it. You might think, fine, I'll ignore her too. I'll give her a taste of her own medicine. But that's still a reaction. That still means she's controlling the rhythm. True power isn't counter-manipulation, it's detachment. It's when her shifts stop dictating your state altogether. You don't need to punish her, you just refuse to be hooked. And here's the paradox: the moment you stop reacting to hot-cold, the game dies. If she was only testing you, she'll realize she can't shake you and start showing up consistently. If she was only using you, she'll drift away because you're no longer feeding her control. Either outcome is a win. You either gain a woman who respects your steadiness, or you lose someone who was never serious about you in the first place. Both are better than obsession. Now ask yourself, have you ever overcompensated when a woman went cold, only to feel emptier afterward? Have you ever tried to mirror her distance, hoping it would pull her back, but instead ended up more entangled in the game? Or did you ever resist the urge, stay calm, and notice how much power you gained just by not chasing? Be honest. Which mistake do you see yourself making the most? Share your experience in the comments. When you stop reacting to the hot-cold rhythm, something remarkable happens inside you. You begin to notice how much of your energy was wasted before how many hours you spent staring at a phone screen, rereading her last message, waiting for a vibration that never came. That wasted energy could have built your body, sharpened your mind, or created wealth. Instead, it was trapped in a cycle of emotional gambling, and the moment you detach, you reclaim that energy. You redirect it back into yourself. That shift is what women feel, and it's why detachment is so powerful. Imagine you're sitting at a dinner table. She's across from you, scrolling through her phone, giving you half attention. In the past, you would have leaned forward, cracked jokes, tried harder to capture her focus. Now, you lean back. You calmly continue your meal, unfazed by her distraction. Maybe you pull out your own phone. Maybe you simply enjoy the food. You're not competing for her attention anymore. That calm indifference makes her look up. Suddenly, she feels the imbalance. Suddenly, she realizes she's losing your presence. That's the difference. You're no longer proving yourself to her. You're letting her prove herself to you. This is where many men struggle. They confuse detachment with neglect. They think being detached means being cold, withholding affection, or acting arrogant. That's not what I'm talking about. Detachment isn't about punishing her. It's about not being punished by her games. It's the ability to stay centered no matter what she does. When she's warm, you enjoy it. When she's cold, you don't spiral, you don't bend, you remain steady. And that steadiness is more attractive than any witty text or romantic gesture you could send. Let me give you a story. A friend of mine, Chris, fell into the hot-cold trap with a woman from his gym. She would flirt with him after workouts, touch his arm, ask about his day. He got hooked, but every time he asked her out, she'd say something like, "Maybe, I'll see how my week goes." He kept chasing, hoping her warmth meant something real. Weeks turned into months. One day, he finally stopped. He told me, "Man, I realized she was never going to step up, so I just stopped texting." The next week, she approached him differently. No more vague excuses. She asked him, "Why haven't you invited me out?" The irony, the moment he stopped chasing, she flipped. She wanted his attention back, but by then, He had already moved on. He told me it was the most liberating feeling, not because she wanted him again, but because he realized he didn't need it. That's the key. You don't play the game. You outgrow it. Because here's the truth most men avoid. Women only play hot-cold games with men they sense are willing to be trapped by them. If she feels you're too busy building, too grounded to be tossed around, she won't waste her time trying to destabilize you. She'll either step up or step aside. And here's where practical strategy comes in again. When she goes cold, you don't fill the silence with your words. You let it breathe. If she cancels, you don't bend over backwards. You calmly continue your life. If she reappears with sudden warmth, you don't give her the satisfaction of an instant return. You match lightly, but keep your center. And here's the most important tactic: always keep your schedule, your habits, your discipline untouched by her inconsistency. If you have a workout, you don't skip it for her sudden "let's hang out." If you have a project, you don't delay it because she finally decided to reply. Your life is not rearranged by her rhythm. Your life has its own rhythm. She can join it, but she doesn't control it. Do you see the power in this? She becomes an addition, not the foundation. And when a woman feels that, when she realizes she's not the axis of your world, she either respects you more or fades away. Both are wins, because you're no longer gambling on her attention. You're investing in yourself. Let me ask you, how many times have you cancelled your own plans just to be available the second she texted back? How many times have you skipped a workout, lost sleep, or ignored your goals because you thought that maybe this time she'd stay warm? And now, imagine the opposite. Imagine staying consistent with your life, no matter what she does. How different would your confidence feel? How different would your attraction become? Be honest in the comments. Do you still bend your schedule around a woman's attention, or have you started keeping your own rhythm steady? Even when she plays hot-cold, here's what men rarely admit out loud: the obsession doesn't start when she's warm. It starts when she pulls away. The warmth is just the hook, but the coldness is the trigger. Because when she suddenly withdraws, you feel the ground ripped out from under you. That instability makes you scramble to restore balance. You think if you can just get her attention back, you'll feel calm again. But what you're really doing is tying your sense of peace to her behavior. That's the most dangerous dependency a man can create, needing a woman's response to feel steady. Think about how it feels in those moments. She doesn't reply. Your stomach twists. You check your phone every 10 minutes. You see her online but not answering you. Suddenly, you're asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Was I too needy? Did I text too soon? Is she talking to someone else? You're not living your life anymore. You're living in her silence. That's how men lose themselves, not because she rejected them outright, but because she destabilized them and they collapsed in the gap. Now let me give you a cold reality. Women respect men who can sit with that silence without breaking. That's the test. It's not about what you say to win her back. It's about what you do when she disappears. If you fall apart, if you chase, if you demand answers, she knows she owns your emotions. But if you remain steady, still focused on your day, still laughing with your friends, still working on your goals, she feels something she can't control. And that's what makes her curious again. Here's the tactic when she goes cold. You don't respond with pursuit. You respond with presence in your own life. Instead of flooding her with texts, you flood your calendar with actions that build you. Instead of waiting for her to reply, you wait under a barbell at the gym. Instead of replaying her silence, you replay your business plan, your craft, your mission. This is not pretending to be busy. This is actually being busy. This is creating a life so full that her inconsistency is a background noise, not the main soundtrack. Here's a story. A guy I knew, Marcus, dated a woman who was the queen of hot cold. She would gush about how much she liked him one day, then vanish for 3 days straight. He told me those 3 days were hell. He couldn't focus at work. He was snapping at friends. He kept checking his phone under the table. One day, he snapped out of it. He said, "What am I doing? I'm giving her 3 days of my life every time she disappears." So the next time she went cold, he decided to go all in on himself. He took those 3 days and poured them into training, into work, into building his side business. By the time she came back with her usual, "Hey, stranger," he felt so good about his own progress that her return didn't even shake him. She noticed. She asked why he wasn't as available. For the first time, she was chasing him. That's what happens when you flip the frame. You stop being the man who collapses in her absence, and you become the man who thrives regardless. And that shift doesn't just change how she sees you, it changes how you see yourself. You realize your value was never in her replies. Your value was in your ability to keep moving. But here's where the real challenge lies. Most men don't fail because they don't understand this. They fail because they can't handle the discomfort. They can't handle the empty space. They break in the silence. They fill it with desperate messages or with scrolling through her social media, trying to decode clues. That's the weakness women sense. And once they sense it, the game never ends. So ask yourself the last time she went cold. What did you do? Did you spiral? Did you chase? Or did you hold steady and redirect your focus? And more importantly, can you handle the silence long enough to prove to yourself that you don't need her warmth to survive? Tell me below, what's the hardest part for you? Is it resisting the urge to reach out? Or is it sitting with the discomfort when she's silent? Which one breaks you faster? Here's the final descent into truth. The hot-cold game isn't just about her. It's about you. It's about what you allow, what you tolerate, what you feed with your energy. Because no woman can run circles around a man who refuses to step into the ring. The moment you stop handing over your peace for her attention, the spell breaks. You've probably noticed this when you stop reacting. She becomes unsettled. The woman who used to pull away and watch you chase suddenly finds herself staring at your silence. She expected you to fold, to double text, to plead for her warmth again. Instead, you just kept moving. That's when she begins to question herself. Did I lose him? Did I push too far? Why isn't he chasing me like the others? That moment, the shift in her comes not because you fought harder, but because you stayed still. That stillness is the one thing she can't control. And here's the paradox: once you stop obsessing over whether she's hot or cold, you realize she never truly held the power at all. You did. You just gave it away every time you scrambled to fix her distance. The hot-cold game works only on men who don't yet see themselves as the prize. Once you do, the entire script flips. Her coldness doesn't feel like rejection anymore. It feels like clarity. You see it for what it is, either a test you don't need to answer, or a sign she was never serious in the first place. This is where the deepest freedom lies, when her inconsistency no longer destabilizes you. When you realize you don't need her warmth to validate your worth. When you know your mission, your path, your discipline are far more intoxicating than any breadcrumb of attention. That's when you become untouchable. And, ironically, that's when women are most drawn to you, because you've stepped out of the cycle. You've stopped being another man chasing the hit of her approval, and you've become the man who doesn't need it. So here's the practical core if she plays hot-cold. You don't fight, you don't beg, you don't chase, you observe, you stay grounded, you let her reveal herself. If she wants to be there, she'll align with your steadiness. If she doesn't, she'll drift away. Either way, you win. Because your life isn't built on her rhythm anymore. It's built on yours. Picture this, she sends you a flirty message after ignoring you for days. In the past, you'd light up, drop everything, and give her your full attention. Now, you smile, acknowledge it, and keep moving. You don't break your flow. You don't skip your plans. You let her come to you, and if she doesn't, you remain untouched. That's power. That's the quiet strength women can't resist and can't manipulate. And the truth is, the game will keep showing up in different forms. Some women will play it unconsciously, others will play it deliberately. But once you master detachment, once you know your value, it doesn't matter. The game has no hold on you. You've seen through it. And once a man sees through the game, he can never be played the same way again. So I'll leave you with this. She didn't break you with her silence, with her coldness, with her inconsistency. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect: your time, your energy, your self-respect. Protect it now. Guard it ruthlessly, because the man who can't be shaken by hot cold is the man every woman either fears to lose or fails to control. And that is where true attraction, true respect, and true freedom live. She didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.